adjustment to the PUD plan for case 1-2009 in PUD field filed by Chris Lundberg, Schumacher Construction Management on behalf of Lucy Investments Associates, is the property owner. Because it is a quasi-judicial hearing of the zoning commission, I am going to go ahead and read the hearing outline, which I will try to paraphrase, and I also read very quickly, so under directions it should go quickly. First, I'll outline the procedures for the commission will follow in the hearing and deciding this matter. Under the zoning resolution, our decision is subject to appeal to the Board of Township Trustees and then to the Court of Common Pleas. As a result, we must employ different procedures from other cases that are typically presented to the zoning commission. Because this is a quasi-judicial proceedings, the commission will only receive evidence as to whether the application meets or does not meet standards and criteria in the zoning resolution. We do not want to hear opinions, just facts. As a result, all persons presenting testimony before the commission, whether for or against the applicant's position, may only do so after being sworn in and being subject to cross-examination. The staff will present a summary of the application. The applicant will then present its case. The board members may ask questions of the staff and anyone who speaks on behalf of the applicant. And the attorney presents the case for the applicant. The attorney is not sworn in and is not considered to be a witness. As a result, the attorney's statements are not considered as evidence. Evidence only comes in through the witness who testifies before the commission after being sworn in. The burden is on the applicant to present evidence that the application satisfies the standards and criteria for approval. After the applicant presents its case through its witnesses, all persons in the audience supporting the application will be permitted to testify one at a time after being recognized by the chair. When all persons supporting the application are finished, those opposed to the application will then be permitted to testify after being recognized by the chair. If anyone in opposition is represented by an attorney, that party will go first, followed by any members of the audience. As stated previously, all persons wishing to testify whether for or against the application may only do so after being sworn in. When testifying, each person from the audience must come forward to the podium after being recognized, speak into the microphone, and state their name, address, and any affiliation to the case. All persons testifying will be limited to 4 minutes unless the commission member requests that they be given additional time. All testimony is directed to the commission only. No comments or questions are to be directed to the applicant or anyone else in the audience. The commission will only hear new, non-repetitive evidence or questions. Should someone wish to show support of previous testimony, they may do so by following the testimony procedures and stating their support of previous testimony. Now, will anyone who, all persons who may give testimony this evening, please stand, raise your right hand, and swear or affirm. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Oh, you want to start with the staff report then?
Okay, thank you. The applicant is Chris. There was very quick. So the applicant is Chris Winenberg, Schumacher Construction Management. The location is at 8639 Beachmont Avenue. The zoning there is EPUD, which is Retail Planned Unit Development. The request is for a major adjustment to the approved PUD plan that was approved in 2009. And this is for the construction of a 12,515 square foot addition. And this replaces a former addition, so the increase in building area is actually about 2,900 square feet. Wake up the computer. So the red is retail zoning. This is the site in question. Is partially in Claremont County. There was, in a little bit of the history, in 2008, it was under case 4, 2008, it was proposed to demolish the Toyota building-related structure, and case 1, 2009 PUD was an adjustment to this request, and that sought to construct a new 58,000 square foot combined facility for Toyota and Science sales and service. 18,200 square feet of that was to be in Anderson Township. So that's what was ultimately constructed. And now, with that being, the majority of the addition was actually in Union Township, and at the time, Union Township gave final occupancy for the building. So there were some outstanding zoning issues that haven't been addressed, but all that is to be addressed with this application. The red area, again, is retail zoning. There is a small office zoning on the other side of Nordike. This is Nordike here, and this is Beachmont Avenue. And then to the south, it's zoned for single family, and the uses are single family dwellings. This is an aerial of the site, so you could see this was the new Toyota Scion building was the former, and actually you'll see from more recent photos, the front of the building has been demolished already, and then what remains is the back service building. This is the proposed site plan. The hatched area here is a proposed addition, which would be a showroom and service bay addition. And then over to the east of the building would be the drive-through area where you would drop off, customers would drop off cars for service. There is proposed to relocate the main drive off of Beachmont Avenue. If you go back, you can see in 2009, the drives along Beachmont Avenue were consolidated into two. This drive here, and then there was a second drive which was in Claremont County. The proposal is to relocate this driveway further to the east. It is not a full driveway. It is an right in and left in and right out only. As part of the proposed improvements, traffic would be one way around the building. The one-way entrance would be this southern entrance on Nordike. This is also used for delivery trucks as well, to parts delivery on the side of the building. It would be one-way movement around the building, and again, the one right in and left in off of Beachmont directly into the service bay area. There are some parking modifications to the side of the building, as well as this row of parking currently is non-conforming because it does not have the 10-foot streetscape setback from the right-of-way line, and as part of the additions, they are proposing to push the parking back where it would be compliant with current zoning. In moving the main entrance off of Beachmont further to the east, this does impact the landscape wall that is installed, so the applicants are proposing to remove a portion of the landscape wall and rearrange the landscaping that's left. This is the proposed landscape plan. Trees have been installed along Nordike. And trees have been installed actually along Beachmont as well. There's a proposal to add some trees to ensure compliance with the zoning, and again, rearrange some of the landscaping where the entrance would modify the existing landscaping. These are the elevation drawings of the proposed addition, and we do have one color rendering. This would be an example of what it would look like from Beachmont Avenue looking toward the south. Again, the main elevation view from Beachmont and the service bay to the left. As far as zoning compliance goes, there was one area of the site plan that did not meet the drive aisle width regulations, and I did talk with Mr. Rudenberg today, and they are proposing to reconfigure this parking area to be compliant. So there was a variance being requested for the drive aisle width, and that's being withdrawn. So that's not an issue anymore. Other areas, the lighting plan that was received is not compliant. However, the applicants have stated that they will modify the lighting plan to be compliant. We issued a zoning certificate for lighting in 2009 that was compliant. We did have a compliant plan, so they will be using that plan again. The only other area that is not compliant is on this site plan. The freestanding sign shows an encroachment into the right-of-way, so that will need to be relocated outside the right-of-way. So other than the previous variances that were granted in 2009, there are no variances being requested with this application. Everything else is compliant with zoning. In your staff report, you'll see the approving resolution from 2009, and whether this current plan is compliant with those conditions or those conditions are requested to be modified. And we'll come back to that, actually. I want to go into the applicable plans. And these are the site photos. So this is looking from Beachmont Avenue to the south, and you can see where the demolition has already taken place, and this is just the remaining service building. These are, this is standing on Nordike, looking back generally to the east and to the northeast, and you can see the trees along Nordike. This is to the rear of the existing service building. You can see the fence that was installed in 2009 as a buffer and a screen to the residential properties to the south. And you can see the customer or service vehicles again, that fence that buffers this property to the single family. So as far as we talked about zoning resolution compliance, the comprehensive plan, there are certain areas that staff felt that this application is consistent with the economic development component and the quality of life component of the comprehensive plan. The trails plan was addressed in 2009, so there already is a trail or a sidewalk along Beechmont Avenue and Nordyke, so this plan is consistent with that. The Beechmont Corridor, Beechmont Vision Plan, again, the driveways were consolidated in 2009. They're just proposing to relocate the driveway on Beechmont Avenue, which actually puts it further east of the intersection with Nordyke, which is moving in the right direction and is safer and compliant with our Beechmont Corridor plan. Then this neighborhood of Beechmont Avenue in the vision plan is identified for contemporary architecture, and again, as you can see from the elevation drawings, the proposed style of architecture is consistent with this vision of this area. The design guidelines were recently adopted in January. These are the items that staff felt this plan was consistent with the design guidelines. And so if we go back to the approving resolution, there were a couple of the conditions I wanted to point out to you. Number 3, the plan shall require with the requirements of other regulatory agencies, including Access Point. I think there was conceptual approval by ODOT regarding the relocated access, but we haven't had anything in writing just yet. So that is something that will have to take place. And then we have had correspondence with the engineer's office regarding Nordyke. Number 5, again, the lighting plan will need to be resubmitted to be compliant with township regulations. Number 8, the property owner shall provide the necessary right of entry for the implementation of the township's gateway plans. They have been in discussion with us about the trimming back the landscape wall on Beechmont Avenue, and we looked across the street to see what impact that would have on the gateway coming from Claremont County into Hamilton County into Anderson Township. There is no wall over there, so it actually, trimming back the wall will match up with the walls that are already in place, so it should have no impact. And then reinstalling the landscaping or reorganizing the landscaping should match what's already out there. Number 9, the existing trees greater than 6 inches in diameter shall be maintained along the south property line abutting the single-family residential zoning. That was an area that they were having difficulty in having trees grow because it was, and I don't think I have a picture. You can see there is existing trees on the other side of the fence, and obviously these are not these will not be impacted. They were having difficulty in maintaining any landscaping along this fence just because it is a low area of the site, and also it sits behind their inventory. These cars are double parked there, so there is really no visual improvement for the general public because it's blocked by the cars anyway. So applicants are requesting that this condition be removed and that it just remain turf. The fence would remain, but the required landscaping, it would just remain turf. Number 13 of the original resolution was a 10-foot right-of-way easement shall be granted along Nordyke. The applicants were in agreement with this. We just don't believe it was actually ever recorded. So they are working with the county engineer's office to make sure that that gets recorded. And then number 15, again, the lighting levels in the parking lot shall be reduced. Again, that needs to be addressed with this application as well. So staff's recommendation for the major adjustment was approval for the following reasons, and then with the following conditions. Again, most of these were taken from the original approval in 2009. Some of them have been adjusted for the current application, such as the removal of the landscaping requirement along the back fence. And you can see them there. I don't need to go through them. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
What were the issues with the lighting thing? Is the light level too high currently? I mean, I know if you're dropping the height of the fixtures, I think from 21 to 16, I think.
So it was, and this may be a question from Mr. Winterberg, but the original lighting plan that we approved in 2009 was compliant with the foot candles around the perimeter of the parking. This lighting plan that was submitted, the foot candles are too high adjoining the properties along the south that are adjacent to residential. There should be 0.1 foot candles at the property line. And it's my understanding, too, that the fixtures are actually lowered in 2009 than originally submitted to be in compliance. So I actually don't know if the lighting levels out there are compliant or not. This plan was not compliant, so it needs to be resubmitted. Yes.
And then did we get any samples of the building materials? Because it's kind of a, at least for me, a unique.
I saw one in a meeting, but we didn't, yes, yes.
And then the access point onto Beachmont that's being relocated to the east, which is great. Is that going to be signed? I know they've got just the right turn arrow out, but are they proposing to sign that right turn only? And then,
Yes.
I mean, has that been working fairly well? I didn't see them in the
Well, currently, cars have actually been displayed in the drive aisle, and so they haven't really been using the drive aisle, is what I understand. And that was to prevent cars from coming in, and actually, the way that the current showroom lined, or, well, the old showroom lined up, they were trying to discourage cars from coming in and taking a left, or I'm sorry, a right around the building out to Nordike, making a shortcut. So they had display cars, and the way that the showroom was, the old showroom lined up with the right in, right out, it didn't function well for them. So it is difficult to make a left out of here anyway because of the way traffic backs up. So it will be signed, though.
Okay, all right. Then one last question. Is the landscape material that's existing out there, this time of year it's a little bit hard to tell, is it in good condition? The staff has any concerns or questions about it? I'm assuming you would probably do an evaluation.
We would do another evaluation, right? I can't really speak to that, so, yeah.
Okay. Somebody from the applicant, I'm sure would love to just hop right over here.
Hello, my name is Chris Wannenberg. I'm Director of Development for Schumacher Dugan and representing Woosty Investments. With me tonight is Jim Woodall with Woosty Investments and the attorney, Mr. Keefe. The existing, or I say existing, but it's not existing today, but previously existing Volvo dealership and Porsche dealership were vacated from the site, and the intent was to create a new showroom for the Audi, a much larger, going from about a 4-car showroom to a 10-car showroom, and just expanding the operations. The service is currently being done in the back part of the building, is Audi's service. We tried everything we could to be able to do that in that existing structure, believe me, and it didn't meet the new Audi USA showroom concept. And it's very modern, it's very creative, as you said. It is expanded metal, aluminum on the outside of a curtain wall type of facility. It is the new Audi look for the next, hopefully, a long time, but certainly it meets all of their current criteria. In order to build it on this site, we had to demolish the existing showrooms and service area other than the back service. We could continue to keep that and operating that, and use their new Audi USA guidelines, and we took, and literally, the picture that I show you is the concept. We are within, I mean, it's going to look exactly like that, other than that says Audi something, I can't read it, but and this was going to say Beachmont, okay. But other than that, it's going to look like that. It's the expanded metal. At night, the thing just is beautiful, the way they light it and those things internally. And functioning-wise, it's be very, very attractive. And I say it's much, much larger than the existing Audi across the street that will then be vacated upon this completion, okay? Gives a much better and nicer presence for the Audi dealership. We have put this new building back exactly with the setbacks on the front, on Beachmont and our Nordyke of the old showroom. But it is larger, and therefore it comes further west. Therefore, the existing driveway doesn't line up. It basically would be going into those, into about the middle of that glass area if we continued that. In discussion with ODOT, the idea of bringing the drive further west was attractive to them. The existing drive really isn't. It was there previously, and we just continued to keep that place as saying, hey, we got an access. When we were doing consolidations along Beachmont, we actually gave up 2 accesses from Beachmont, and we have 2. We used to have 4, and now we're relocating it and matching it as far as what it looks like. There will be both signage and we call them pork chops, to direct the traffic as right out only, okay? And that is all under final approval. We took the preliminary, we got the ODOT's remarks, and we are ready to make application for that access in accordance with their final markups, and we'll do so tomorrow with your approval. Okay. The issue on Nordyke at the and this was part of the first PUD. The building was part of the first PUD, and our hope, of course, was to simply be able to modify the building architecturally or visually, but keep the building where it was and how it was. But that was not able, so now we're in here asking for a major PUD to change. But basically everything, we are actually removing 1 light pole. We are adding no additional lights. We're removing 1 light pole. My understanding was that the photometric drawings that were originally done were then modified to meet your standards. The light poles were all lowered and everything, but nobody redid a photometric drawing. So when I asked for the photometric drawings of the approved plans, I got the wrong photometric drawings submitted. We are reworking the photometric drawings, and we'll give you the new photometric drawings with this plan. But they were approved in '09, and I think they've been verified that they do meet your requirements, and in fact we are taking 1 light out. Where there was a light located where the new entrance drive will be, and that one is being removed. Other than that, everything else remains the same. The issue of the landscaping, again, in the '09 case, trying to keep some low shrubbery and that type of thing along the wall became very difficult. People would run over it. There was no light to it because of a 10-foot, it was against a 10-foot solid wood wall, and we had a hard time keeping it going, and it was just, we are requesting that we're not be required to put landscaping against that 10-foot high wooden wall that basically is going to be hidden by the stock of the automobiles along there. Everything else we agree, and in fact we agree completely with Paul's summary of everything, and we ask for your approval so we can move forward with this very nice addition for the Wooster people and for Anderson Township.
15 feet? Is there other alternate options?
Yes, what we're going to do is, originally, and we've removed, we're going to remove, and we didn't with this one, we had asked to see if 15 feet worked, because our thought is that, in fact, those cars will not be backing out into the 15, they'll be coming in from the other side, which there's a 24-foot driveway. And that driveway is simply going to be a driveway which no one will be parking off of. We can reduce the size of the, if you see the little hatched area there, that's a employee smoking area with an awning. We're going to reduce that size from 20 feet to 15 feet, getting us another 5 feet to be able to put in, to add to it. We will remove, 7 feet. We're going to go from 20 feet to 12 feet, be able to get another 7 feet out of it. And then we're going to remove the last 2 cars so that it'd be a wide open and able to be moved through there. So that's how we will modify it, and not need a variance, be in compliance with your 22-foot requirement. Yes, ma'am?
I just have one question, and it's on the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
Is that going to be handicap accessible?
Oh, it's going to be,
I see it on, can you go to the picture of the dealership?
The aerial?
oh, the aerial?
No, yeah.
No.
Okay, on the sidewalk there,
Yes, your side, yes. When we put the new,
will be, those your pants and
when we put the new entrance in, we will put them in, and the entrance will be, as we did on the one that's in Union Township, it will be a concrete entrance with the ramps and the pads and everything matching up, and we'll carry it on down to Nordyke.
thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Well, I had a couple of deferred questions.
Okay.
So going back to the lighting, you're going to bring that into compliance.
Right.
Are those, I think all your fixtures are shielded?
Yes.
And are those all flat lens?
Yes.
So you don't have any, so is it like corrugated aluminum? Or is it like a building material?
It is an expanded metal product. It's extruded, it's slotted, and it goes on a system of rails, aluminum rails, that you bolt it to, so it sits out just a little, and then we cap it off so it all ties it in. And behind it is either the glass or the aluminum, solid aluminum that's behind it, so that in the glass, the light comes through it and kind of sparkles, and the sun does neat things to it and those type of stuff. It is the Audi required exterior, and certainly, we've seen them. We watched them, a brand new one going up in Schaumburg, Illinois, and it's really cool. Okay.
And you mentioned something that maybe I misunderstood. Is it internally illuminated, you had said?
No, I said the lights from the inside and the area with glass behind it comes through.
You said internally illuminated, I was picturing
No.
it as neon.
No.
No.
No. Yeah. No neon behind it, no.
The site to the north, your existing dealership,
Right.
does Woosty own that? Do you know what the plans are for that? Or?
I believe it's leased, is that correct? Yeah. And the leases will be coming up within,
So it'll be going back to the
Right, to the
property. And then you mentioned the pork chop on the new entryway on Beachmont. So is that going to be a raised concrete pork chop to ODOT standards, or?
yes, ODOT is required that it be that, and there will be a sign in it.
Okay, because the plans we have.
It's small.
do show it as being striped. but
Right.
It is going to be raised.
It's a small one because of the sidewalk. that's along the street. It's pretty short. But it's there.
I mean, anybody can.
Exactly.
So, okay. And
We
then-
would love to not put it in, because we know people will bounce over it and all of those things, but
And then, I think my last question for you has to do with the access point on Nordi. That's going to be an exit only, I understand, and you're going to sign that, and obviously
Right.
stripe it as such on the pavement. Was any thought given to narrowing that access point, so that it's going to be out only? I'm sure your carrier trucks are going out that way, but
Right.
with an auto turn on there, it seems to me like maybe that could be narrowed.
well, there's two things happening there. One of which is in the showroom, there's a customer delivery area, the door goes up and you drive out. And we've got, and needing to be able to get the trucks that coming through there are going to make a left and then right to get out of there. We tried it, we looked at it. It's brand, I mean, we put it in 2009. It's brand-new concrete and everything's there, it looks great. So our hope was, and Hamilton County was happy with leaving it, and just, we'll make sure it's very known that it's a exit only. And
Happy, I'm happy, okay.
me too. If Ted's happy, we're all happy. That's what-
Anybody have any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else that would wish to speak in favor of the request? And I'm willing to bet you guys don't want to speak in opposition to the request. Okay. Well, with that said then, back to my trusty cheat sheet here. The commission has no other questions? And then we'll go into discussion amongst ourselves then? Any concerns or?
Nope, not now.
And you, next time you come, you ought to bring a sample of materials and books, okay?
Especially something this
Just, yeah, just saying, that might be good. Well, with that then, I would entertain a motion. I can make that motion if you guys are okay with that.
Well, I'll go ahead, and
Okay.
if I got, I'm afraid I'll sneeze right into all of it.
Okay. Well, then I would make a motion that we approve Case Anderson 1-2009, major adjustment to Beechmont Audi, 8639 Beechmont Avenue, and that approval would be subject to the conditions, the 10 conditions that are contained in our staff report, and that approval is based on the recommendation of approval 1 through 4 contained in our staff report. I second. Want to call the roll, please, Allison?
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Heskamp?
Yes.
Ms. McBride?
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's all that we had on our agenda. Paul, do you have anything else for us?
We don't. We do have a meeting scheduled for next month, so if you could mark your calendars,
That is,
April the 28th.
Allison and I will be in Atlanta.
Yes.
So we will be thinking of the
So-
will not be
April the 28th.
28.
April the 28th. So if you can check, okay. Okay?
My wife ever gets out of the hospital, I'll get paid.
Is there anything else? Anybody else?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.